writing, and I haven't been waiting for a response. I've actually been waiting for validation, you know? I've been waiting for somebody to say, you know, you've got great writing capability, what you've got to offer is brilliant, you matter, your story matters, your journey matters, these other women's stories who were within this book, their stories matter.
Drive. So what I started to do, I started to just like buy and sell domain names when the internet was like literally you had to plug it into your wall. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It's so easy because you're chasing this dream and this vision that you have, and to feel as though you need to be working all hours of the day. And yes, there are some days where you need to push yourself that little bit harder, but you really need, if you haven't got your health and your well-being, you haven't got any business.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of She's the Boss Female Entrepreneur Stories, where I interview phenomenal women from the world of business and entrepreneurship. If you haven't already done so, please make sure you click that subscribe or follow button to make sure you're the first to know when I release a new interview. And if you haven't been listening to or watching the rest of the interviews, go back and go through the archives. There's some amazing interviews with some fantastic women who are all sharing their journeys, but also really interesting pieces of advice. And if you're trying to embark on the world of business, I'm sure you're going to get value from it. So today, I'm excited to be joined by the founder of BYP Network, Kike Oniwinde. Kike, thank you so much for joining me. Now, I'm going to read some of your accolades. There's too many for me to include all of them, but I think these ones are really quite important. You are one of the Forbes 30 under 30, Maserati 100 innovators, top 100 UK BAME leaders in tech, and a World Economic Forum global shaper. You're doing big things, clearly. So tell us more. Tell us about the BYP network and your motivations for starting.
Yeah, sure. So BYP Network is a platform that connects Black professionals with each other and corporations. It also connects them to kind of allies, to other Black professionals and communities. We've actually just launched a brand new app. So our app, essentially, we kind of like to say it's like a Facebook groups meets LinkedIn kind of vibe. So you can download the app, you can join different groups of interest, you can connect with people from different industries, and then you pretty much get a timeline filled of like people kind of asking for mentors or new events or opportunities that are local to you. And it's just a really good kind of safe space that we're looking to scale. And of course, you can apply for job roles because we work with corporate partners such as Facebook, Sky, Accenture, that post jobs essentially because they want more Black professionals to apply for their roles. So that's kind of BYP Network in a nutshell. We also do events. So we had our annual conference last year in September, had about 800 people. This year it will be in October. I'm expecting about 1,200 plus people. And we have blogs, we have a podcast as well. That is just one season. Like, we're not really a podcast company, so we just have the one season, and that's there for life for people to listen to. As well as, again, just offline events and things like that. So it's quite the best way to describe it is we're here to change the Black narrative, or more so here to kind of shine a light on the true Black narrative of Black people doing great in all fields and sectors. You know, we're not just one stereotypical kind of community that's painted by the media. There's a lot more to us, and that's what BYP Network is about. It's about kind of bringing us together globally and showcasing the talent.
So, and I must applaud you because I think it's a fantastic thing that you've done, and I think it's needed, definitely needed, and I'm a member and I've already started to value being part of the network. So thank you to you for really spearheading that. Where did the inspiration and motivation come from, and what gave you the courage to actually step out and do it?
Yeah, great question. I guess it's it was a journey. That's where the idea came from, a journey. So like I grew up in East London. I was very like academic, but also an athlete too. So I did javelin for Great Britain. I was a national champion. I got a scholarship to America, and I got internship opportunities at top investment banks. So I had a lot of kind of privileges for myself, but I kind of tend to be the only one in the room, or kind of the only black person on the floor. And it kind of felt like, what is the standard to get these opportunities? You know, because maybe the person next to me isn't that rare, but actually here they are, their dad got them in, or just, whatever it is. And on top of that as well, at home, like my eldest brother was in prison. So even within my own home, there was a difference. And just within the community as well, I saw things like when I came back from Florida, some of my friends were still unemployed after 2 years of graduating, even though they were talented. And so there was just a lot of things happening all at once, including like obviously the whole knife crime, police brutality, diversity inclusion as a conversation. And it just felt like it's just the same old. Like, when will it change? Or we look to the African continent and, feedback will be like, oh, God will change it. Oh, one day. But it's like, well, how, when? Surely we need to do something to make a difference for our own community. And so the idea kind of came about from that collective feeling of like, actually, there's so much that needs changing or fixing or shining a light on. And I know I'm not the only one that feels this way. Like, I know there's so many of us who feel like this isn't right as a representation of our community, but feel powerless. Like, how do we go about making change when it's the problem's so huge? Yeah. So I was kind of like, well, clearly we just need a platform. We need a way to come together with our ideas, with our desire to make change, and then kind of share that with each other. So maybe you come on the platform and two people might go off and make a project or a business or an initiative that is towards the community. And that's kind of where the original idea came from. And I knew it needed to be a tech platform because I knew tech was the future. I was working in fintech at the time. I was seeing a lot of news all about, technology. And I felt like this is the best way to scale a company, through tech. But obviously I didn't have a way of like creating any tech platform. So I kind of just started by hosting events. Literally, I was just hosting events, building up a mailing list, being consistent with the events and the messaging of why we're here, and having that ambition to grow it further. And I got quite fortunate to kind of see basically a business owner who creates niche apps, like networking apps. And it was like, wow, that's kind of what I need. Let me get in contact. And then from there, that's when I was able to make my first version of the app. A lot of people ask like kind of why we've now launched a whole new one. But actually, when you get into the tech space, you understand that you need to own your own tech, your own IP. It needs to be your own team that develops it. Whereas that app wasn't necessarily owned by us. It was like white labeled as the best way to describe it, which was perfect for someone who is just getting started and is putting an idea out there. And it did wonders for me to kind of get propelled into a space where I could raise funding, or, I won pitch competitions because I had that idea and I kind of did something to then move forward. So I'm a big believer that was the right choice. So even though we're here now and we're launching a whole new app, this is like the day one now, because this is like, okay, this is the app that we now want to scale, we want to like build on and grow, whilst maintaining all our offline activities, because actually our community love the offline element. And I really thought we'll probably get rid of that, but actually we can't, because that's what they love as well. So now we're even launching chapters. So now we've got a Birmingham chapter, a Cardiff chapter. We've got some leaders confirmed in like Newcastle and Manchester. So by the end of the year, our ambition is to have 30 chapters around the world. So everything is a big ambition with me. And I guess, like you said, what gave me the confidence to kind of do it is kind of just to go forward. I had the confidence to I have an idea, let me just walk the path. So it wasn't kind of like, oh my God, this seems impossible to do. How do I do it? I don't have tech background. I don't have, a software engineer. I don't have the money. It was just like, okay, this is my idea. Let me start where I am and keep building from there. And then the more and more the time goes by, the more confident I feel. The support I've had from the community lets me know that, okay, this is something that is needed. And I've just been walking forward. Like even today, we're 3 years in now, but we're still beginning as far as I'm concerned. We're just, walking forward. And that's always my advice to other people. Just start where you are. Start where you are and have big ambition, so you know where you intend to go, and keep working towards that.
I have so many questions, like so many questions, and I'm going to try and remember them. And I'm trying to make sure that I ask them in order. But where does that confidence come from? Because the things that you've done are really the epitome of thinking big and taking action, which is kind of part of my motto. But I know that there's a lot of people that may have had similar ideas, or ideas that may be on the same kind of grand scale, but they've remained ideas because they haven't had that confidence and the resolve to do it. Where does that confidence come from? Is that something that was instilled in you as a child? Is it something that you've developed? Like, why did you know that actually, yeah, I can do this and I'm going to do it?
You know what? I've always had like this fire burning in my chest. It's the best way to kind of like paint it. Like I'm the kind of person who is has high conviction and high self-esteem, in a sense of I'm like, no, I know I can do this. I know I should do it. I know I should be the best at it. You know, like I was an athlete, of course, and as an athlete, you have to have that conviction that you will be the best ever athlete in the world, you know, in your chosen sport. Otherwise, there's no point in doing it. You know, you have to believe you will win every competition, and this training is going to help you become the best version of yourself. So having that kind of athlete mindset of like, you know, winner takes all, and, you know, you go for it, also helped a lot. And so I always tell, like, you know, you do those kind of Myers-Briggs, and I can't remember the other one I did, but, you know, my number one trait was like futuristic. So I'm very much like always thinking about the future. I'm always like ambitious and always thinking like, this is where I intend to go or where I intend to be. And so because I've always got that mindset and that vision, I just walk forward in that. And I'm like, yeah, well, this is supposed to happen because it's my vision and I see it. Like, that's what's going to happen. So even with BYP, we're 3 years in and people are like, wow, how have you done so much? And, you know, how have you, you know, got here? That's why I'm always able to say, well, we're just like day one, we haven't done anything actually. Like, we've got a lot more coming because I can see it. I know what I'm building. I know what I'm planning. I know why I'm doing it. And I think that it's really hard because I speak to people in the community or just people who ask me questions like, you know, how do I start this, or how do I, you know, go about it, or I don't have that confidence. And then honestly, it's like you have to build it. You know, I'm fortunate to have had that kind of athlete background that gave me that kind of resolve of go out there and do it. But I do know athletes who even now don't have that confidence outside of sport. So I was very fortunate to transfer it, like that transferable skills. But even though I was an athlete, obviously I was very academic too. So I've always just had high goals, high ambitions, and the belief and resilience that, yeah, why not? It's supposed to happen. I will make it happen. And I think it's just a mindset, growth mindset is what I call it. And that understanding that like anything is possible. Like, why not you know?
Yeah. No, I love that. And I would say that in terms of the vision I have for my own business, for example, and the business that I owned previously, I was always very steadfast. Like, this is the vision, this is where I'm going. Of course I can do it. And I don't really understand why I wouldn't be able to. It doesn't even cross my mind. But I always come across a lot of women in particular that are always second guessing themselves. So it's really refreshing to hear you speaking and being so confident and forthright about, yeah, this is just the beginning. And actually there's this whole other thing that this whole journey that I'm going on. And this is actually just day one. But I hope that you are taking the time to acknowledge how amazing what you've done so far.
That's like my biggest flaw, basically. Like, you literally highlighted the flaw. That is like my biggest flaw. And actually something I have been saying that like daily now. I'm like practicing gratitude, and like just daily I'm just taking it in and just understanding, like, enjoy the journey. You know, I wrote a blog post for the beginning of the year, like things I learned in the last decade, and like my number one flaw was I just didn't take in the journey. And you have to, because there's always another step and another ambition and another goal. So even when you reach it, you know, it's called achievement fallacy, where it doesn't matter at the time, because what next? You have to always keep, you know, you're always going for something more. So you never actually reach fulfillment. Mm-hmm. So I kind of practice that gratitude and understanding, like, I know I'm like ambition and this, but actually you can take some time and understand that you've done so much already and people are proud of you, and let them celebrate you. And it's something that I learned as an athlete, like, in that world, it's kind of like, you know, if you're not Olympic champion, no one cares, like, who are you? So we don't really feel confident posting something. So if I like won, you know, my, you know, national championships for like my age group, I might not post it because I'm like, I'm not Olympic champion. But that was how bad the mindset was back then. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't let people celebrate my successes then because I didn't celebrate them. Mm-hmm. Whereas now in this world, I'm like, no, I can't do that. And something that people might know is I post quite a lot. I post my achievements these days. I let people know what I'm achieving, because if I don't do that, like, it's because I'm like, I don't think it's a good enough achievement. So I post it because I'm like, actually, I know this inspires someone. I know that actually I've worked hard and this is a good feat. Let's let people celebrate that. So yeah, obviously there's got to be flaws, and everything's a journey. And even though I have that resolve and confidence, and that's why I'm able to move forward and do big things, but I also have to take in my flaw of like not celebrating the moment. So that's definitely advice to people, like, enjoy the journey. And don't do a Kike.
Yeah, no, I second it. It's interesting because obviously we don't know each other, but we have so many similar traits, because I am exactly the same. One of my clients said to me the other day, Daniela, can you please put on your email signature and on everything that you have 3 degrees. And I was like, but why? It's like, because that's a big deal. People need to know, like, I am inspired by that. And it annoys me that you don't put that out there. And I was like, yeah, but I don't have a PhD. Like, what has that got to do with anything? So I really, now on my social media, I keep putting, I have an MBA, I have an MA, and trying to make sure that I celebrate the fact and also share it, because as you said, you don't know who you're inspiring by not sharing what you've achieved. And in terms of your achievement, when I signed up to the app and saw the number of members, that just blew my mind. So just from that perspective, even irrespective of everything else, you definitely need to take a moment to say well done to you, because that is amazing. You have you've engaged a lot of people from the community, and I just think that's an amazing thing. How have you done that? That's probably the next question. So you said you did the events.
Yeah, it's such a good question, because something that's kind of, we talk about BYP, what makes us defensible, like what kind of, or indefensible, I can't remember which one it is, but what allows us to go forward and to grow. And, despite the fact that obviously there are other networks trying to do something similar and whatnot, but I think it's our authentic messaging. Like, we're very much like, from day one, I started this community for the community. Like, I started it so that you as an individual can make a change within the community. So that's never changed. So they're always at the forefront of everything that we do. And they feel that whether it's online on the app or offline in person in our events, it just always goes back onto them. Like, the reason we're here is to make you the best version of yourself so that you can also give back. Like, it's all about, creating that village to raise a child, that the African proverb. Like, we've done it by that. So word of mouth spreads a lot, or people engage with us because we give them so many avenues to engage. So like I said, whether it's our app, whether it's our events, whether it's our job board, our podcast, our blogs, our newsletters. So like, we've got so many angles, and it sounds like we're doing a lot, but actually we just want to give. We just really want to give to you guys. Like, whatever it is, whatever hits you is what we want. And I think that's why, and every time, every year or every day, we just don't want to ever be the same. We're like, well, we did this last year, it's got to be bigger next year. We did this last year, this is how we can improve. What does the community think? What do they say? So for example, this year we have a lot more events, and that's because the community said we didn't do enough events last year. And they're right, we didn't. Like, our main focus was our conference. I think we did 2 other kind of events during the year, but we're mainly focused on like other things. But actually they felt that. So now this year we've come back like bigger and better with events like galore. We're sponsoring more events. We're making chapters around the country and around the world because they want events. So I think that's what it is. Like, we listen to them and we understand their pain points and we get it. And even now we're bringing a recruiter onto the team, because even though we've got the job board, a lot of people want that touch of like speaking to someone and, aiding them through the application process, or they want the CV workshops that we're going to bring out, and the interview skills workshops that we're bringing out, because they need to better themselves too, to even feel the confidence to apply for these roles. And again, like, our next event is Maximize Your Money, which is all about personal taxes, learning the best money management tools, a bit about mortgages. So it's like anything for personal professional development we want to do for you. Just tell us what it is, and we'll endeavor to do it. And even though it's a lot of work, we get that it's about engagement of the community. Like, it's all good and well saying we've got 40,000 members, but if 40,000 members say we haven't benefited at all from BYP, what's the point? Whereas I can guarantee that every member can say they've benefited some way. Even if it's one connection on the app that led to a coffee offline, they've engaged somehow. And that's what we're about. And it's bigger than just, hey, we're trying to do it to be seen. We're doing it to change the world. Literally, we like this is a platform to change the world, and it has to. We can't stop till it does. So I think that comes across quite clearly. It's just true to why we started it. And that's kind of how we've been able to grow it. There's no ulterior motive.
And I think your passion it comes across when you're explaining that. And that is something that I think people definitely want to buy into, because it's clear that this is not something that you're doing to just get rich quick. You're clearly passionate about the cause. And I think that's really important. And it demonstrates authenticity in what you're doing and in the brand, for sure. In terms of developing an app and developing the business, you've mentioned team and having a team quite a lot. How have you been able to build that team? In my previous business, I had a team, and I wasn't very good at recruitment at all. I made some really bad decisions at times with hiring, and that led to firing and resigning. How have you managed to build a strong team? Because if you're if you're developing something that is going to be national and international, I can imagine that you really need a team that you can rely on. How have you gone about that?
Yeah, such a good question. I mean, like, everybody struggles with team. Like, it's not even, you can never put it on yourself. It is literally humans. You're dealing with other humans who have their own like goals and ambitions or ulterior motives. So you can never really identify that until you identify it.
Yeah.
Going about building a team has been a journey. So we've been around, like I said, about 3 years now. For literally the first 2 years, it was kind of people just helping here and there, like friends, or some people have reached out and said, I'd like to be a part of it. But even then, in that, I had to kind of let people go during helping, like even just volunteers. You kind of had to be like, you're not really helping the way I need you to. It's better for me to just do this on my own. And that was really tough, that beginning part. And when I didn't have money as well, couldn't pay people. So I felt like I couldn't even pay, because if you want to volunteer, but you're kind of like, I'm volunteering, but I don't have to do that because like I don't have to. I'm not being paid. Like, it's not my job. There was also that element. So I really struggled those first 2 years, kind of having people on board. And I, as you can see, I'm such an ambitious person. So like, I want good quality. And if you're kind of doing it lackluster because you're just volunteering, it doesn't work. And so I'm a big believer of like, just pay people to do things minimum. So even if it's like freelance work, just give them payment. So we have bloggers and we pay them, for example. It's just so much better. And obviously not everybody has that money to pay people, which is fair enough, and that is fine. But there's other things that you might reward them with. Like, you might take them out for like dinner or buy lunch, or, just something, a gift that you can kind of do for them. Or when you do get a bit of money, like trying to give them some of that, always work to get revenue for your company. And then I guess once I raised some finance, I was able to hire more of a team. So I hired like a head of partnerships. I hired like a videographer and graphics kind of person, or content creator. Someone for the tech team, so a tech lead, developers. So I got to hiring, and some of my early mistakes, especially like last year, was like hiring too junior of roles, because obviously the money isn't like expansive, right? I think at the time I raised like £150,000. So if you think of someone who's really senior talent, like that might be their salary, So but you can't hire that. You have to kind of go for junior, maybe interns and stuff like that. And you need, like, for what I'm building, you need people that have done it before. You need people that get it, that have, I can't upskill you right now. Like, I don't have the processes or the, the space to do so. So I need you to kind of hit the ground running and do that. And when you kind of have people who haven't done it before, or who are kind of like so junior that don't get the world of work or how to work properly, and just, be head down work, none of that kind of like gossiping, catty behavior, is quite frustrating. So those were kind of some of my early mistakes last year, which, led me to having to let go of people, or, just clearing out the rooms for less toxicity. But this year has been incredible. Like, the team, well, towards the end of the has been just such a great team of like mainly experienced hires, who have already done it before, or who get it, they're doing their work, they're loving it. We're just got such a great bond, and we're looking to expand in the coming months as well. And we now understand that we need people that get it, they've done it, they already present to us what they're going to do before they even join the team. So, there's that whole thing, hire slowly, fire quick. And that's something I didn't do as well. Like, I didn't fire quickly enough. So it dragged on. It's hard to let someone go. It's so hard, and you end up blaming yourself, you feeling bad, or you give chances, and every chance just like, futile. So I think, it's not easy at all. And I think any founder needs to understand that, and it's not them. Don't feel bad about that. It is just life. Every founder goes through it. But I think it's then just getting better quality. And sometimes, again, you could get good quality that isn't too expensive. Like, you just hit a rare gem. Or you might pay, like we went through a phase where we paid quite a bit of money for like an experienced hire, because we're like, what, we need superior quality. But they weren't good. So actually, you can also waste money. You can actually spend more for peanuts, essentially, for less. So that also doesn't work. So you have to get that recruitment process right. You have to kind of send them the task to do in advance, have that phone call, have that in-person interview, not just yourself, but someone else, really understand the motivation. And then, of course, a trial period, or what do we call it? Probation period, essentially. So, it's a journey, honestly. Like, right now, everything's good and smooth, but I know that's not like forever. Like, you will go through trials and tribulations as a founder.
I think the whole thing of hiring slow, firing quick is such an important lesson, and it's a lesson that I had to learn, because I hired, in my previous business, I hired somebody, and I was faffing around with firing them. And then in the end, I ended up firing them. I think it was a week after they'd been in post for a year, which then gave them the right amount of time to be able to take me to an employment tribunal. So that was a lesson I learned the incredibly hard way. So I say to everyone, if you think that somebody is not right, get rid of them as quickly as possible. Do not dilly-dally. And as hard as it is, even if you personally can't do it, get somebody else to do it then. Although, as a founder, you do need to learn. Yeah, you do need to learn how to do it yourself, for sure.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the fact that you raised finance. I've also been through the investment process, which was a very, very stressful thing for me. How did you find it?
So I've been fortunate with investment, I must admit, and I always stress this to people. My funding came about from winning my competition, so they already saw me. So they kind of came to me. It's the best way to describe it. I went through some periods of going out and looking because I'm, fundraising. But again, those periods, it's something I'll touch across one day, maybe not now, but just in terms of getting funding from Black investors is a really tough thing to do. There isn't enough of them, and those that there are very risk averse, or they might not, just believe in you. And it's harder when you can't really get that and you want that support from your community. But that's why I talk a lot about allies. All my investors at the moment are white. Even my next round, I'm literally majority white, because they believe in BYP, they see the vision, they get it. But when I go to kind of the Black investors, it's even as all we've done now, it's just not coming. It's not coming.
That's crazy.
Aligning.
That is crazy. I never would have expected you to have said that. That's so crazy.
It's not aligning. It's not aligning. And it's sad, really, really sad. And I think I'm growing a passion of in the future to do something about, Black investing. Even though there's funds and stuff that created, I guess some of them are still kind of looking for that creme de la creme, sure thing, $1 billion company tomorrow, versus actually take that risk, go with the grind and see how you can help them grow. So it is something I will touch upon later on in life, not right now, but
I won't delve too deep. No, it's interesting because I was in a room a couple of weeks ago, and I think I put this on my social media. It was for an investment program, an investment pitching event type thing, and we were selecting people to go through to pitch, and there were 2 Black businesses in the room. I was the only Black person in the room, and the companies were focused on hair, Black hair, and I then became the spokesperson to explain the importance of these Black hair companies and why Black women can't necessarily go to Asda and just buy shampoo off the shelf. And it was a really interesting thing for me because some of the other white people in the room were completely agreeing with me and saying, yeah, this is great. And I remember thinking, if this was a room of Black people, this explanation wouldn't even be necessary. But it's interesting that you've had, even though it's not hair, but you've had a very different experience to what I would have assumed would be the experience.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. I won't dive too deep. So, and speaking of kind of looking at the issue of race then, one of the questions that I really wanted to ask you is, how have you found the response generally, so not from an investment perspective, but generally, about the fact that you're doing a network specifically for Black people? And I asked this question for a number of reasons. One is my cousin did an event several years ago called Miss Black Britain. And I remember there was a period of time where she was getting quite a fair bit of online trolling about the fact that it was really racist and why can't white people or other ethnicities get involved. And I've also just generally on social media now, you see a lot of people trolling people around anything that is deemed as Black, as though to have something for Black people is in itself racist. Have you experienced that, and how have you managed dealing with that?
So the general support of BYP Network is positive. From literally day one, it's been positive. Whether it's from Black people or white people, Asian people, it's been really, really positive. There was a time actually where we were featured in BBC News and on their Instagram page as well. And then the comments were just like, this is segregation, this is apartheid, this is racism, this is ridiculous. That is where, I saw kind of the British population kind of views, which we know that is their views. These are people from anywhere around the whole country. They could be in one village somewhere. That's when I kind of saw okay, cool, not everybody gets it. And that actually maybe a good amount of people, majority might not get it, but those that do get it, support it. Those that get it, like, you know, follow us or offer opportunities or do what they can to kind of bring their company involved in working with us. So it's a really good question in the sense of it just doesn't bother me. I mean, I'm currently up for, well, it'll be, by the time this is released, it'll be out, but I'm up for a stylist award, like Remarkable Women. And I posted it on my LinkedIn, and like one comment was like, isn't this ridiculous? Like, blah, 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 blah. This shouldn't have to happen. But actually loads of people responded to that, like what are you talking about? Like, this is needed, blah, 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 blah. So it's like, actually, even when someone does give a negative comment, I don't have to be the one to come and address it necessarily. Others will address it because we know the need for it. So I expect that. We expect that. With BYP Network, it is specifically Black professionals, but I always say we are open to everyone. So like, we have events that majority crowd will be Black. If you're okay with that, come along. You can be white, you can be Asian, you can be anything. It doesn't matter. Just know that when we go to events, we tend to be the only Black person in the room. So it's like an opposite for you. That's all it is. We're more than open and welcoming of anyone. And like I said, allies is a big thing for me anyway. And even in the BBC News like little clip, it said we're open to everyone, but people don't care. They just see, it's for Black people, and it's a problem. And you know, people kind of address why Black and not, let's say, BAME or BME. The thing again is, the reason why I went straight for Black is like, I feel like that is the biggest problem in BAME. Like, we have our own problems that are very specific to our community.
Yes.
However, I do have the ambition of one day open it up to more, you know, because the way our platform works, it's group function anyway. So you can join the group that interests you. So you can join Black women in tech, or you can join Asian in tech. So maybe in the future we might do that. But for now, it's truly focused on like the Black professional and the Black experience.
And I think it's necessary, personally. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day about this thing of BAME, and actually you can't just group everybody into one term. I don't agree with it, specifically because even within the Black community, there's differences based on where you come from, your religion. So I think that having a focus on Black network in the first instance, it's just 100% necessary. And what I always find quite irritating is the people that will be saying, oh, it's racist, you shouldn't have it, segregation, etc. You people are not the ones shouting about actual incidents of racism. If you had the same anger towards actual racism and tried to do something about that, then we wouldn't need to have our own things. It's really quite as simple as that.
They're the ones defending racism. They're literally the ones defending. They're the ones saying, why does it have to always be about race when it literally is about race?
Yeah.
They are the ones. So that's why they can say that, because that is still their view. They're thinking, oh, why do they have to do that? Nothing is about race. But actually, someone just did something racist. The Prime Minister is literally racist. And you'll be like, no, he ain't. Well, no. So you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't take those seriously. And we all know trolls exist. And in fact, they're rife, especially on Twitter. And I think it's just about just protecting your peace in your own space and moving forward with whatever journey that you're on, and know that you will have naysayers. It doesn't matter.
For sure. What would you say has been the greatest challenge for you over the past 3 years? And then in comparison, what has been kind of the best thing? What has been kind of your proudest moment?
It's a really difficult question, because like I say, just building business is the challenge, you know, like
everything.
The whole years has been the challenge. Building something from nothing, you know, will always be very difficult. And like just the daily experiences that you know, you have a good day, you have a bad day, you have a great day. You know, I always tell people like entrepreneurship is hard, and I have to like let you know that. Like, I know I'm one of those people that I only like tend to post the good things, like the achievements, because it's hard to be posted like, I had a crap day today, and no one really wants to see that anyway. Like, just give that uplifting spirit. But even though it's been a challenge, it's been an amazing journey, and I'm taking that in, as I said from before. Whereas when I look back at my time in Florida, I always say like, I only focus on the struggle of like trying to be the best athlete, but I didn't take in how much of a fantastic experience I had. Like, just the weather, you know, the facilities, the food, the experiences, the people I met, the friends I have for life. Like, in the moment, I didn't take any of that in. It's only when I left. And so now, as an entrepreneur, like I'm grateful that I get to experience this journey, that I get to do something that I'm passionate about and that I'm creating, you know, it's something I'm creating in this world. So that in itself is something I'm proud of and just happy about, and that even though it is a challenge, and I'm like, I know it's just going to always be a challenge. Like, that's just the journey I've chosen. Like, the journey, I think Reid Hoffman said something like, entrepreneurship is jumping off a cliff and building a plane on the way down. Like, that is such a good quote, because it's like, yeah, that's entrepreneurship. So, you know, I can't say like biggest challenge. Like I said, the whole 3 years is rife of challenges. But I remember, like, sometimes I just think of like, oh my God, this is so difficult. How are we going to do this? And then I smile, I'm like, this is why I chose this. This is what I signed up for. So it's weird. Like, even though I know it's a challenge, I know it's difficult, like, it does fuel me too. It's like, well, it's a difficult journey that I've chosen. So it makes life more interesting.
Sure.
But and proudest moment, honestly, again, like, it's a hard one, right? Because I don't take things in too much, but I just think it is. I honestly believe it's the support I have is actually my proudest moments, because, you know, like I said, even sharing things has been difficult for me because I wasn't that kind of person. Like, I didn't share anything. Like for me to share something would be Olympic champion. Like, that's a level I would want to share. I wouldn't want to share anything unless it's that. So being able to break free of that has been great for me, actually. I've grown as a person who understands how important it is to share your joy, and to allow people to celebrate you. And, you know, when I look back at the time that I didn't do that and how selfish that was to kind of, you know, not take on something that others will be so grateful to have achieved. But for me, it's not good enough because of my own mindset. But that's quite destructive. So I am actually proud of how far I've come in sharing with others what I'm doing, and just understanding that, you know, like, you're helping others do things too, and you're helping the community. And even though it's not the grand vision and plan of like changing the whole Black narrative, it's still a journey that you're on and that you're making an impact. So I'm just proud of like where I am mentally, of understanding that I'm on a journey.
I love that. Self-reflection is so important. What I'm really excited about, and I'm just going to sign you up to this whilst we're live so that you can't get out of it, is I would love to do a She's the Boss Revisited with you in like a year's time to kind of see the progress of the business and also the progress of you. I'm nearly positive that you're going to get many more accolades, and I want to see those being shared and shouted about from you and from your mouth comfortably. So I'm signing you up for that just in advance.
Yay!
So 3 pieces of it, you've dropped gems all throughout our discussion, but 3 pieces of advice that you would give to a woman who's sitting at home, who's listening to this, wants to start her business or is in the early stages of her business and maybe scared, struggling. What pieces of advice would you give her?
Okay, so the first piece of advice would be obviously to get started, but getting started could be do some market research. You have an idea, you know, write down that idea. I remember BYP, I was on the train and I was writing down like the kind of idea and drawing a vision of like, you know, how I want the website to look like. That was when I just remember that, like, all in my notes on my phone, just putting it down, and then asking people about it. So a lot of people feel too afraid to ask people about their idea because they think people will steal it. Like, I've come across people like that. I'm like, well, it's more than just an idea. There's millions of people who probably have that same idea. It's about execution. So, you know, go and ask people, what do they think? Get some market research. See if you're onto something. See if these same people will use your product or your service. And just build that, get that confidence that actually, okay, cool, this is the grand vision of the idea. I've got some market research. I see that it's needed. I've checked online to see others that might be doing it. I've reached out to people who are similar to see if maybe there's a way we can collaborate, or to see actually if you can do it better. Like, do that groundwork first. It might take you a month, it might take you 3 months, 6 months, but at least be doing it and knowing that you are going to launch something. And with that, you know, make sure you kind of map out what your first thing will be. So it might be like building a website. There's Wix, there's Squarespace, there's so many tools now that make it so easy for you to just make a website. You know, there's even a website called Fiverr.com where you can kind of reach out and get somebody else to do it for a cheap price. Like, just build something quick that kind of gets the vision out there. And then just go about it, like using marketing tools or just understanding what you can kind of do to start growing it. So that's that kind of first bit about kind of getting started. The second advice I always give is to join a network. And I'm not just saying BYP Network, I'm saying like I did the Entrepreneurs Foundation, which was a community of aspiring entrepreneurs wanting to build something. And they gave us workshops and connected us to, other bigger entrepreneurs or investors. So join those kind of networks where you're going to get external advice and help, get a mentor, get a coach. Like, don't think you have to do it alone. And when I say alone, I mean like you by yourself in your room constantly, just you figuring it out. Like, reach out, get that help, ask questions, be a sponge, see who's done something you've done before, maybe in a different field. So like, let's say BYP Network is for Black young professionals, but maybe there's a women professionals network. I will research to see what they've kind of done. I could take similar stuff because you're doing something similar, but just for a different niche. So like, really like be ready to learn and grab and to know what your ambition is. And then I'd say my third advice is kind of, well, it all stems in like, enjoy the journey and be ambitious. Do both. Like, aim high, know you can achieve it. Don't let these statistics bog you down, like 0.002% of Black women raise money and all these kind of stats that we see all the time. Because you don't have to be a statistic. You can break that mold, right? It can be you. Why not you? And really live by that view. Like, yeah, I know what I'm building. I'm going to go about it. You can pivot. Don't be afraid to change the idea and to understand what doesn't work to get that product market fit. And just be ambitious with it and enjoy the fact that you're on this roller coaster that is literally highs and lows every single day, every single week, every single month. So, yeah.
Fabulous advice. Thank you so much for that. If people want to find out more about you, about BYP Network, what platforms are you on? Where can they get the information?
Yes. So if you want to get directly in touch with me, the easiest way is to download the BYP Network app and add me as a friend. I respond. So that's one way, and the app is available on iOS or Play Store. Not yet website, like as in for the app, but we will have that soon. Another great way to kind of get in touch or meet me in person or meet the team is to be at our BYP Network events. So we've got one every single month in London, especially, and then we'll open up different ones across the country. So like I said, we've got Cardiff and Birmingham already running live events. So make sure you attend our events. Again, you can go on our website to see more. And then, follow us on socials. So we're BYP Network on all socials, BYP Network app on Twitter, and Kike Oniwinde, again, on all socials is my name. So download the app, support us, join us. Know that we are on a journey. So we're not perfect. Our app is not perfect, but it will become perfect, But yeah, that's what I
love it. Thank you so much for joining me in this discussion. I've really enjoyed it. I feel like I feel motivated and empowered to go and do some work. I really love it. And I really do look forward to reconnecting with you. Well, I'm part of the BYP network, so I'm going to see it, but I'm really excited about coming back in a year or so to find out kind of what the journey's been since we spoke. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I feel like I now have to like mentally prepare for that and just like, have a fantastic year. Well, I will anyway, so.
And thank you guys. Yeah, thank you for being here, and thank you everybody for watching, for listening. As usual, if you have found anything in this interview that resonates with you, that has empowered you, that has motivated you, which I'm sure that you have, click that like button, leave a comment, share it with your network, and as usual, make sure you click that subscribe or follow button so that you never miss one of these awesome interviews. And if you are a woman sitting at home and wanting to start a business or in the early stages of your business and you need some guidance, some support, help with getting your business off the ground, growing it, scaling it, get in touch with me. I provide consultancy, coaching, and mentoring for female entrepreneurs who are ambitious and who want to think big, take action, and keep pushing. So drop me an email on Daniela@she'sthebossintl.com. I'll see you next week, Sunday at 8 o'clock. Thank you for participating.
Okay.